Hello there. Welcome back to my channel, Snips by Kelly. I'm Kelly, and tonight I have 77 projects to share with you and an in-depth look at the Close to My Heart Bridge product as well as the Stampin' Up Online Exclusives. Let's dive right in. Okay, we're moving on to Secret Garden. Secret Garden is a gorgeous collection that is bridge product, which means close to my heart, designed and created, Stampin' Up, purchased and sold. And it dropped again with all of this other product on July 3rd. And it is a gorgeous collection that is an extended collection. This would have been our May National Scrapbooking Month special. But of course, with the announcement of the Close to My Heart closure, things got a little mixed up and we didn't actually have this as part of our National Scrapbooking Fun. So our collection is larger than normal. So this is the scrapbooking workshop. I'm going to show you the ingredients and then I'm going to show you the finished scrapbooking workshop. I'm also going to show you the card making workshop and some additional projects. It's really difficult to appreciate it until you actually see everything up close and personal. So within the Secret Garden Scrapbooking Workshop Kit, you get some standalone thin cuts that create gorgeous layered flowers. You get a stamp and thin cut set that also creates gorgeous flowers and different title opportunities. They are gorgeous. Then you get, of course, the regular cardstock, two-tone white core cardstock needed to complete 6 pages in the workshop kit. You get the instructions if you would like to create the 6 pages that I'm going to show you here. They're already in the kit. When you purchase the kit, you pull out the instructions and you can follow the instructions and put these 6 pages together. Or many demonstrators will take these kit ingredients or these kit contents and they will extend projects and make even more projects with those. You get your photo place card holders. You get a gorgeous sticker sheet that has title opportunities, smaller sentiments, larger sentiments, journaling opportunities, some florals, some flourishes, and some wonderful shapes. Then you get the dots, which are the Secret Garden dots. Now, so far, everything that I've mentioned here is still available separately, except the dots. The dots are no longer available. Those have sold out. You get an extended paper pack, which is much more paper than what is in a normal scrapbooking workshop kit. We normally get 6 sheets, and as you can see here, we have many more sheets of pattern paper. So the coordinating colors are Artichoke Espresso, French Vanilla, Glacier, Honey Butter, Limeade, Mink, Peach, Periwinkle, Pine, and Sage. So you have a large floral, one of each of the primary colors. And then when you flip that over to the back, another large floral that features those same colors. So you have pink, honey butter, peach, honey butter, periwinkle, and Glacier. And then you have a vintagey pattern here, same thing. One of each of those primary colors, turn it over, one of each of those primary colors, okay? Then you have some berry vines or twigs, and same thing. You can see one of each of the primary colors, one of each of the primary colors that is in that pack. You also can get separately or together in this kit the coordinating cardstock. This is different from our white core two-tone cardstock. It has pre-printed patterns on it, but it is cardstock weight. Now I have a few pieces missing because I've created with this, but you get 2 each of the crisscross patterns. Of course, I only have one because I've worked with that. And then on the back side is a beautiful wash dot, and you get 2 each of those patterns as well. So it is an enormous set and it is gorgeous. So one thing that I do want to mention before we get into the layouts is this usually is not the norm, but this Secret Garden Scrapbooking Stampin' Thin Cut that comes in this set is a duplicate. It is also used for the card workshop. So if you want to do the scrapbooking workshop and the card workshop and not have a duplicate stamp, you will want to buy separate pieces for one or the other. So maybe purchasing the scrapbooking workshop kit that already has the stamps, both stamps in both die sets, and then grabbing the paper and the other pieces that you need for the card kit so that you don't have an extra one of these. So I just wanted to give you a heads up about that. So this is the workshop kit, the scrapbooking workshop that I call the corporate workshop. Now, why I call this the corporate workshop, I've just done that for years because we had corporate headquarters for Close to My Heart, and that just means that it was designed by corporate. It could be guest designers from other demonstrators, and they received a stipend, and so then that workshop is owned by Close to My Heart, or it actually was created by the Close to My Heart design studio. So anytime that I say corporate workshop, that means that it is not Snips by Kelly made. It is not made by me. It is actually made, designed, and instructions included by the art studio from Close to My Heart. So here is layout number 1, and this is the element of those standalone thin cuts that I think are just are hard to see when you're looking at a photo of product. They're so detailed and they're so layered and they're absolutely beautiful. And they're paired with some of those stamped flowers and these stamped flourishes that you can marker on, or you can stamp with color, or you can pair those with stickers as well. So we have some stamp pieces, some standalone dies, and then we also have some thin cut and stamped pieces as well. So there is the first layout. Here is the second layout and my favorite color combination. I love the honey butter mixed in with the glacier and the Seabrook. It's absolutely gorgeous. So here you can see again some of the thin cut and stamped flowers. Some of those had some coloring techniques. You can see some of those die cut flowers in there, and you can see some of those sticker flowers in there as well. Some really cute punch outs that come right in the kit there. Very, very beautiful corporate workshop. I don't always put together the corporate workshops because I often create my own so that I can make my workshops extend from a 6-page workshop to a 12-page workshop if I'm doing something called Sparkle and Shine for my Snips by Kelly paper crafters. And but this I couldn't resist. I loved it exactly the way it was. I normally am a person who changes things up. There was nothing about this workshop that I wanted to change. I felt like it was beautiful just the way it was. Some background stamping here, some background stamping here, title stamping here. You have some die flowers here. You have some stamped and thin cut flowers here. And let's see, are there any stickers here on this one? I don't see flower stickers on this one, but I do see some other little stickers that are incorporated through the layout. So that is the 6-page corporate workshop. Grab the workshop kit, the instructions are included, and you can put those together. Now, the card making workshop kit creates 16 cards, and it is using the same stamp and die set that the scrapbooking workshop uses. And so I only have 8 of the cards here because it is 8 cards, 2 sets each. So you will create these 8 cards shown here, and then you will duplicate that, and you will actually have some materials and supplies left over to be able to create even more. And so they're gorgeous cards. You see background stamping, you see sentiment stamping, you see stamping and die cutting, you see some background techniques. Here again, background stamping, some layering, some Stampin' Thin Cuts, some coloring, some color blending, lots and lots of different technique. That's one thing about these workshop kits is they always try to teach technique with them so that you're not only taking away beautiful cards when you purchase a workshop kit, you're learning skills and techniques that you can apply to your paper crafting projects for years to come. So again, 16 cards to each of the designs shown here is the Secret Garden card making workshop kit. Both the scrapbooking workshop kit and the card making workshop kit are still available on the shop site, as are all of the separate pieces except for the Secret Garden dots. Now let's take a look at some additional projects an additional project that I did with Secret Garden. I do have a full process video on this one, so if you follow me closely, you will have seen this process video drop. I believe it dropped yesterday. I attended a class reunion, and these are my friends that I've been friends with for 46 to 50 years, and we did a little bit of secret title underneath the journaling, but this is really what I want you to see. Those layers of the standalone die cut or thin cut flowers that come in the workshop kit or are sold separately. Absolutely gorgeous florals. And that is the Secret Garden collection. So let's move on. I neglected to mention that with Secret Garden, I do 2 workshops with each collection. So I'll be doing a 12-page Sparkle and Shine elevated workshop and a 10-page Simply Scrappin' workshop with a lower price point and fewer ingredients. So now we're going to just briefly touch on Lake Life. I think almost everyone who follows has seen Lake Life, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. I'm going to show you all of the cards that are made up, as well as some additional projects that I've made. I will also be doing a Sparkle and Shine version of this, 12 pages, and a Simply Scrappin' version of this, 10 pages. So the scrapbooking workshop kit is sold out. However, don't despair. The pattern paper is still there. The pattern paper and sticker sheet is still there. And the card making workshop kit is still there, which shocks me because it's gorgeous. So of course, with the Lake Life collection, you have pattern paper and sticker sheet. You do, with the workshop kit, get coordinating cardstock. You get some die cuts and extra specialty paper. I won't focus on those today because the workshop kit is sold out, but I'll give you a quick peek so that you know how those workshop kits are bundled. So you get punch out die cuts, you get extra specialty paper, and you get two-tone coordinating cardstock. So I'll put that aside since that part isn't available anymore. However, what we do still have available is the paper pack and sticker sheet, which is part of my Simply Scrappin', and it's also part of my Sparkle and Shine workshop. So you have this great outdoorsy lake themed, which would also work for hiking, outdoors, walking, the mountains, and then a wonderful workshop that is pre-printed just like Secret Garden and creates 6 pages if you want to pull that out and just go ahead and put those 6 pages together. Again, lake-themed pattern papers, double-sided with great zip strips on them, and it has been making amazing projects all over YouTube. Demonstrators and makers alike. So in the workshop kit, you get an abbreviated version of wood grain die cuts. They're somewhat like chipboard, and they have all kinds of title opportunities and extra bits that you can work into your pages. They also had a set of die cuts, an additional larger set of die cuts, which literally sold out in minutes. So this isn't available anymore, but definitely you can use your Cricut or you can use other things from your stash. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple pages that I've created with that. I will still be creating the Sparkle and Shine and the Simply Scrappin' workshop, but I actually did a couple bonuses for my paper crafters. So I created a bonus kit for my paper crafters. 4 times a year in my Snips by Kelly paper crafting group, I create bonus kits. Now in Stampin' Up, our bonus kits have changed because they do not allow stamping in bonus kits. And so my Stampin' Up bonus kits do not have any stamping in them. So this will likely be my very last close to my heart made workshop kit that has stamping. But when my paper crafters purchased Album Retreat 4 times a year in the past, because it's a larger purchase, I always created a bonus layout for my paper crafters that was a bonus free layout kit that they received when they purchased the Album Retreat. And because there was so much product drop on July 3rd, I created a bonus kit for them if they reach the same price point as an Album Retreat. So cute. So there's some additional product on this. We have Frosted Forest dies, which we're going to be talking about when we get into the Stampin' Up! Product. We have Nested Essential dies, which we can talk about also, that I've been loving. And then we have a retired stamp and thin cut from close to my heart called Hooked on Fishing that I incorporated in that as well. And then the Lake Life papers that I incorporated into that to make that fun bonus layout. I also and there is a full process video on that I'll link in the description. There's also a full process video on this single page. I just got done participating in a sketch hop where all of the participants follow a sketch and a summer theme, and we create our take on the sketch. So of course I used Lake Life and the Spotlight on Nature circle dies, and I absolutely had a blast with this. I documented some camping photos of my granddaughters and them watching the sun go down from the boat and from the shore. And that is all that I have done at this point on Lake Life that I'm prepared to show. I do have my scrapbooking workshops on the table, and those will be debuting soon. Now let's talk about the Lake Life card making workshop. It is amazing. It has an exclusive stamp and die set with it, and it creates 16 cards for each of 4 designs. And so this is still available on the shop site, and I can't even understand why, because look at that. So it gives you a background wash stamp, this one right here, that creates that beautiful wash pattern in the back. You have dies that create the reeds, the duck, and the fish. So anything outlined in blue is a die, and then the other ones are standalone stamps, and it just creates gorgeous, gorgeous stamps. So some background stamping on the fish, the get well soon, and the fish. And here we have that same one again. Here, let me get to the 3rd and 4th one. So here is the 3rd style that you would create 4 of. And then they always include a slim line. Here is the slim line. So you get 3 each, 4 cards of 3 designs of a standard card, and then 4 cards each of the slim line. And so there is the Lake Life card making workshop kit. Again, instructions are included in the kit. You simply order the kit, pull out the instructions, and you'll have everything that you need to create all 16 cards plus leftovers. And that is Lake Life. Okay, we are moving on to Soda Pop. But before we do these products, just as a reminder, we had a little product release catalog that talked about Secret Garden and that talked about the products that were going to be dropped as bridge product for Close to My Heart. And on the same day, we actually had the online exclusives that were going to drop as well. So I'm going to be showing you all of my projects that I've created with the online exclusives as well as these bridge products. So it does get confusing, but we did already talk about Secret Garden, but I do want to talk before we get into Soda Pop about a couple other things that are still available, but that I didn't happen to create with yet. So we have this home stamp that is still available on the shop site and some artwork samples here. Really, really cute layout. Bless This Home. We also had the capture stamp, and I have that here, but that did sell out right away. I do believe that this was going to be one of our National Scrapbooking Day projects, and I do believe that Jennifer Smith from Canada was the guest designer. So she was also on the Close to My Heart design team with me and others, and I believe she was down to create with this, and I think she actually did create her version that she was able to promote and has a workshop guide for that. So you can go check her out, Jennifer Smith from Canada. She is a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator now, because sadly that sold out, and my Snips by Kelly paper crafters and I always vote ahead of time what projects we're going to do, and they voted to use this stamp with Soda Pop. So I'm going to show you a couple possibilities if you weren't one of the lucky ones that was able to get the Capture the Adventure stamp set. So cute. Now, Jennifer used the Close to My Heart season mix-ins on her workshop using the Capture the Adventure stamp set. But again, that stamp set has sold out. They also had Road Trip that dropped, which sold out, unfortunately. And I'm not sure if there was a guest designer for that one. Here's an adorable one that's still available called All Aboard. And it has all the cute little critters, and it has all the vehicles. So all the little vehicles and all the little critters, and it has some sample artwork, and that one is still available at the time of this video. We have the This Happened stamp set that sold out almost immediately, but we do have our word strip die cuts. They're paperboard. They're on a 6x12 sheet, and they have all different kinds of word strips that you can stamp on, and they're paperboard, so they're thicker than cardstock, but not quite as thick as chipboard. And so we have some samples using those. And then we do still have available the Totally Amazing set, Cute Frog, and some sample artwork, and he is still on the shop site as of the time of the video. Flower Cuddles stamp set sold out. Boo-hoo. It was so cute with all the little forest animals and the forest flowers, and some sample artwork there. And then we had this one that also sold out, A Note for You. Really nice sentiments. However, the coolest part of this is still available. An adorable floral sprig embossing folder and the stencils to go with that. So they combined the embossing folder, stencils, and stamp. But as you can see from this stamp, they're just a lot of the generic sayings that we all have, so many of those stamps in our stash. And then they show some sample artwork with that, where they've used the layering, the stencils, where they've fussy cut some of those out and they've stamped and stenciled right on those cards. So that is, again, part of that bridge product drop. I'll talk about this in a minute, but let's move on to Soda Pop. So my Snips by Kelly paper crafters voted to use the Capture the Adventure stamp set and the Soda Pop paper pack and sticker sheet to create a 10 or 12 page workshop. And that was what they tasked me with, to be able to create that. So I'm going to show you something that you could substitute if you missed out on this stamp. If you have been in Close to My Heart for a while, S1604 Life in Pictures is all vintage cameras and little sentiments. And I think that this would work great. We have had Magical before that had a camera in it. There are Cricut elements that are camera elements. And for my paper crafters, I'll be working with them and probably providing them with a few additional Cricut elements and a few additional ideas. So I do have a couple layouts that I can show you here that are part of my 10 to 12 page workshop, but they do have artwork samples in the brochure. And the only part to this collection is the paper pack and sticker sheet. So you could literally add the paper pack and sticker sheet to any Stampin' Die, whether it be Stampin' Up or Close to My Heart, and make an adorable project with it. So what it has is it has the 12 by 12 sticker sheet. So you have title opportunities, you have icons, some of them are photo related, some of them are vintage related, and some of them are just generic titles, words, sentiments, and strips and little tags and other types of things. And I think what attracted my Snips by Kelly paper crafters to this is the color scheme. So the featured colors of Soda Pop are Lagoon, Limeade, Sapphire, and White Daisy. So if you're Stampin' Up, Night of Navy would go with this beautifully. And the, I think it's called Limeade Twist would go with this beautifully as well. So you have 6 pattern papers, double-sided, 2 each of 3 double-sided. So here is the first one. So you can see a nice plaid and a diagonal stripe, and then a really great zip strip there. We have a Limeade pattern and a sapphire grid pattern. And so, of course, those are double-sided, and you have a really fun scribble circle zip strip there. And then my personal favorite is it's like a little camera flash and the little circles in all of the colors of the collection, and then a little micro dot, and then a diamond zip strip. And so those are the patterns in Soda Pop. So let's take a look at what I've created so far with Soda Pop and the camera stamp set. So here is the first layout of my workshop. And so I have created these cameras using the stamp set, and the capture is the title using the stamp set. We have some sticker pieces here. We have a little bit of stamping with some ink rubbing in the back, stamping of a banner. I've done some doodling on some background pattern paper. I've added a Cricut overlay, stitched overlay. I do have a video on how you can create that yourself, and I also have a free Design Space file with that already made and created, and in that, if you would like to check that out, I will link that in my description. So over here, I do have a Cricut film strip that holds 3x3 photos. And then again, the same play on the 4-inch squares in the center, a little bit of stamping in the background. And I did actually add some dots to this collection. Decided to add the ombre matte decorative dots. And the reason I did is these 3 colors down here go perfectly with the collection, and these are a great contrast color, and you can see I actually use those to give a splash of a contrast color in the background, and I really love that. So these little bitty cameras were stamped from the camera set, and I added the dots to those. Super fun. Let's check out another layout from the workshop. So I did a play on One of a Kind, and I made a swash on the Cricut, a little cutout that it resembles a paint swash. So I made 2 of those. I did a little splattering with a shimmer brush, a sapphire shimmer brush on the Limeade swash. And then I did a little splattering with some white, oh my goodness, spray on the sapphire, stamped all of these cameras and cut them out, put a little dot from the ombre dots in there, and then did a play on One of a Kind. So I had 1 different camera, all the rest of the cameras the same, signifying that this layout is about someone who is one of a kind. Did again some stamping in the background with a little ink blending with a Stampin' Write marker, and I used Pool Party, which works great. It's almost like Glacier. Stickers here, and then just some play on some added paper strips, and then adding those ombre dots in the background. I thought that was super fun. So you can stay tuned for the rest of that 10 to 12 page workshop. That's 4 of the pages there. Now I also made a couple cards with the Soda Pop collection. I actually made 1 card, and I have a little, I always say little because she's a teenager, but I have a teenager named Ashley that comes in and helps me each day in the summertime. And I told her I was going to be gone to work, and I told her that she could pull out the card pattern book and just practice making cards. She's inexperienced in making cards, but she's a natural. And so she pulled out Soda Pop, and I said, you can use anything that you want. You just have to use Soda Pop. So you can see that she used the Soda Pop pattern papers here, and then she pulled out the Filled with Fun wagon. And so she added the red wagon with all of the presents and added the birthday sentiment. And I thought for her first time doing a card card all by herself. She did fantastic. So I decided to make mine into a shaker window. So I added the Soda Pop collection, did some floral embossing in the back, used the Round We Go dies that create this adorable rosette and all of these pieces here, some interesting pieces that you can cut one on top of the other. And I really, really loved this set. I had used this set in last month's bonus Stamp It Up kit. So I do a Stamp It Up kit when my paper crafters reach a certain amount each month. They get a pre-cut kit and they do all their own stamping and they choose the stamp that they want to put on it. But I cut all the bases, the pattern paper, do the embossing, cut the dies and package it all up for them and do the designing, and they add whatever stamp they would like. But I loved using the iridescent loose silver sequins here. So I did a little stamping in the center there and added all of the Soda Pop colors on that. And I thought that was super fun. I did use the In Color Shimmer Gems, the glacier colored ones here, and actually Pool Party, I believe is what it would be called. Summer Splash, excuse me, is what it would be called in Stampin' Up. Okay, so that is Soda Pop, and let's move on. I believe we're moving on to Gnomes for Summer next. I have some projects to show you with Gnomes for Summer. So for those of you who are not familiar with our Gnome series, Close to My Heart launched a year-long Gnome series, Gnomes for Winter, Gnomes for Spring, Gnomes for Summer, and Gnomes for Autumn. So I was the guest designer for Close to My Heart for Gnomes for Winter. I created workshops, YouTube series workshops for Gnomes for Spring and also for Gnomes for Autumn with cheat sheets. The spring cheat sheet is still pending, but all the other cheat sheets and instruction guides are already gone long out for the others. And we were waiting and anticipating if we were going to get the last gnome to complete our series. And I'm happy to announce Gnomes for Summer are on the shop site and they have not sold out. There are individual pieces as well as the full workshop kit. So I have the full workshop to show you as well as a sneak of one of my layouts for my upcoming YouTube Gnomes for Summer series. And I also have some cards to show you. So the Gnomes for Summer collection comes in a bundled kit, but you can also buy individual pieces. They come complete with full color instructions to create 6 pages, a 6-page workshop. Now my gnome workshops are typically 10 pages, but you can do the adorable corporate workshop, the workshop that was designed by the company and or a guest designer for Close to My Heart. So what comes in the Gnomes for Summer kit aside from the full color instruction is the summer gnome himself. Gnomes for Summer standalone thin cuts. And what these are is these are all the pieces to make the adorable gnome. And I'm going to show you him in action. So you have his body, his glasses, his flip-flop, his nose, his hand, his drink, his umbrella, his hat, and his beard. And you can color coordinate him and create those parts and pieces however you would like and out of whatever paper and materials you would like. So in the workshop kit, you also get an additional Gnomes for Summer scrapbooking stamp and thin cut. Now there is a card making stamp and thin cut as well, but there is no pre-designed card making workshop for summer gnomes, but there is a sentiment set only. But this has your traditional summer icons for the scrapbooking, your bicycle, your sprinkler, sunshine, ice cream, and then some cute summer sentiments there, summer titles. Of course, in each of our workshop kits, we always get the place card holders for your photos. We have some glitter paper die cuts, and I'll show you the back of those. They're easier to see. Large, medium, and small stars, large, medium, and small shells, and they are Journey glitter paper paperboard dies that come right in the kit. The 12 by 12 sticker sheet, which includes banners, titles, strips, all kinds of little summer icons, some with and some without the gnomes. So you would be able to create a workshop with this paper and have it be summer themed, and you would would not have to create only with gnomes if you're not into gnomes, but if you wanted to go full on gnomes, you would totally be able to do that as well. Adorable summery patterns in this. So 6 pattern papers, 3 patterns double-sided to each of those. So let's take a look at the first one. So we have a nice wavy stripe, and the coordinating colors are Ballerina, Charcoal, Journey, Lagoon, Lemonade, Rosy, Sundance, and White Daisy. And then we have great word paper on the back, Gone Fishing, Time to Relax, Stay Cool by the Pool, Adventure Time, Best Vacation Ever, and so on and so forth. A lovely, lovely Journey crisscross that has some Journey and some Glacier and some Lagoon in it. And then a little sailor hat pattern paper in the back with really, really cute zip strips, a little multi-dot. Here is our theme-specific hero paper. So this paper here is our only gnome-specific hero pattern paper that is very much a theme, but all of the other patterns in this collection are summer. So if you take a look at these 4 patterns here, they're all summer with no gnomes in them at all. And then this one is all summer with no gnomes in it. Just, it's more of a hero paper, but it is no gnomes, just the back side. So 1 pattern out of 6 is the only gnome specific. So you can go full on gnomes with the die and the gnome paper, or you can just have a super cute summer pattern. Here are the coordinating cardstocks, and these are the cardstocks needed if you're going to make the corporate workshop, and they are included in the corporate workshop. So speaking of the corporate workshop, let's take a look at it. So I created the corporate workshop exactly as it was designed. I did not make any changes to the workshop. So if you get the Gnomes for Summer workshop, you will get a workshop guide that looks like this. It shows you how to cut all of your pieces, and then it gives you full color photos and instructions on how to put those pages together. And these are the pages that you would create. Here's 2 of my granddaughters in their backyard, Hattie and Avery, Hattie Elaine and Avery Jean, just swimming in the backyard pool. Super cute. So you can see here is the only gnome. All the rest, we have some of the Stampin' Dies here, but all the rest are just summer icons, summer titles, and incorporating that cute little gnome into that pool layout. Layout number 2, I opted to do some lake photos. We go at the end of July every year to the lake. My husband is always super busy in the field, and so are my sons, my son-in-law and sons, because they all farm and ranch, except for our oldest son, who owns and operates the local hardware store and gas station. And so they're just so busy in the summertime. But at the end of July, we go camping every end of July. So these are all my grandkids out on the tube, and my son-in-law and my son and another granddaughter out on the lake. So love this. Now, there are no standalone gnomes in this. We do use the gnome paper here, but you could easily flip that gnome paper over and have no gnomes in this layout if you aren't a gnome lover. I don't know why you wouldn't love gnomes. I'm not going to give you a hard time. I love them, but some people definitely do not. Here is another one from last week. My son and my grandson tubing. My grandson, Waylon James, is almost 3, so they're barely putting along, and he's holding him on the tube, and then he just gets tired out. A friend of theirs went along for the ride, and you can see this cute little standalone gnome. And again, all of the patterns are summer specific. The only thing that has the gnome is the little gnome guy here, and he's so cute. So that is the corporate workshop. Now let's take a look at some other projects. So again, my little helper Ashley, I gave her some leftover gnome paper, and I gave her the gnome Stampin' Thin Cuts, and I said take some pattern books and just make some cards, and so she did, and I think she did a very good job. She's 17 and she is going to be a senior next year, and so these are the cards that she made with the gnome set. I thought she did fantastic. She made one with the bicycle, summer adventures. She's learning. She's never made cards before this summer, and so she's learning and practicing. I liked how she did this one where she put the ice cream up here, and he's so cute. She used the multicolor pattern on his shoes and his hat. This one, again, no big gnome, but just a cute little sentiment. There's Gnome Buddy But You. Very basic, simple card with some background stamping, a little bit of splatter and stamping on that one. Of course, this one is stinking cute just because the gnome itself is cute. And it is the gnome as is with a little sentiment in the background and some ink rubbing. That is it. How quick and easy it would be to make cute cards with that. She made another one with the bicycle and a little ink blending in the background. All of these were made with the gnome collection, the gnome paper, and the gnome stamped and thin cuts that come right in the kit. All right, let's take a look at my YouTube series. I will be doing a Gnome for Summer YouTube series where I will do a process video for 10 pages, 5 2-page layouts, and here's a sneak peek of one of my layouts. And so we just have basic tearing of strips, and I used an overlay in the background that was just a splash of a blotch. So I love to call those blotches, but I created a blotch in the background. It's very easy to create blotches by tearing or just randomly cutting your paper. You don't need a Cricut to make a blotch background. You can also make blotch backgrounds with ink or with a little bit of chalk paint. You could do that, or white paint on a darker background, white ink pad, excuse me. So a large amount of journaling. Here's the little gnome, a little Cricut beach ball, and of course the Cricut blotches, and then the little Cricut pail. Oh, I have a Cricut shovel and I didn't add it. I'm going to have to add that in. A large focal 5x7 photo I figured of one of my grandkids swimming. Keeping cool in the pool is a sticker. We have a couple stickers right here. There are those little die cuts, the glitter paper journey die cuts, and this one is a sticker. There's those journey die cuts, and that's all there is to it. So, so cute. So you can see the detail on the little gnome there and how adorable he is, but you can also take a look at this and think how cute that would be even without the gnome. You could do a generic summer. Okay, we are going to be moving on now to all kinds of projects with the online exclusives. But before we move on to the online exclusives, I just wanted to briefly touch on the fact that there are some staples, some close to my heart staples that came available on the shop site that people have been asking for, and they are still available now. Our 12x12 post-bound and D-ring albums are now available on the shop site, the Stampin' Up website. Our page protectors, varying sizes, some that are pocket, some that are a side load, top load, I believe, or maybe are they all side load? I think they are all side load. Those are available on the shop site now. Our signature flip flaps are available on the shop site. I thought that I pulled those out. Let me find those for you here just a second. Stampin' Up purchased some of our close to my heart intellectual property, patents and copyright things when Close to My Heart closed, and the flip flaps were one of those. Flip flaps are a patented Close to My Heart product, or were, and they are a pocket that you can put on your pages to add additional photo opportunities. You can attach those right to your page protectors, or you can attach those right to your pages. You peel off the adhesive. You can put decorative elements, memorabilia, and photos in those, and those are something that Close to My Heart makers know and love. And we hope that Stampin' Up! Demonstrators fall in love with them. There are varying sizes, and they are now available on the Stampin' Up! Shop site. We do have standalone single white core cardstock papers that are available on the shop site now as well. There are limited colors, and I believe once they're gone, they are gone. Okay, let's move right into the wonderful, wonderful product drop that happened on the same day as the Close to My Heart product drop on July 3rd. We're going to take a look at all kinds of projects from the online exclusives. Let's go. So now we are talking about online exclusives, and it's my understanding that once a year there is a big, not once a year, I think it's 3 times a year, there are online only specials that are dropped onto the shop site that last, it's actually promoted for a month, but anything that's left over after the month stays in the online section on online exclusives until it is gone. And so they had a huge, huge online product drop on July 3rd. And so I've been playing around with those. It's taken me a while. I really, really, really wanted to do a sneak peek video of that, but we didn't get to see. We did get to order some things early, but it took me a while to figure out how things worked and to sort of understand the whole process. And it appears to me that in July each year, they have bonus bucks where every time you spend $50, you get a $5 coupon in product credit to spend the following month, and that they have these big online exclusive drops. So I'm really still learning about the product, but I've been having a blast playing with everything. So one of the first things that I gravitated toward and that I purchased right away was the Frosted Forest dies. Now, I haven't had a chance to play with the stencils, but I've watched other people play with the stencils that are part of this, and they are amazing. They make the most realistic looking trees you could ever imagine. So you have the opportunity to get a bundle, and that includes your stamp, your die, and your stencils. So that's what the die looks like. You can get it separately. This is what the stencils look like, and you can also get those separately. So I have been loving these, and I've actually used the Frosted Forest dies on my Stamp It Up bonus kit. So in Close to My Heart, we used to have a stamp of the month. Those people that spent a certain amount and earned the stamp of the month always got a bonus kit from me each month, and usually it was a 4 or a 5 card kit, or it was a layout kit. Now in Stampin' Up, there isn't a stamp of the month. So now I'm calling it the Stamp It Up kit. I'm still doing the same great kits, but I pre-cut all the pieces, and then my Snips by Kelly paper crafters get to decide what sentiments they want on them, and they stamp their own. So I don't do any of the stamping. I just do the cutting for them. And so you can see that the Frosted Forest is incredible. It has layered trees, it has a bird, it has just the base of the tree, and it has a really, really unique die that looks like this. That creates a pop-out die, and I'll show that to you. And then, of course, you can do the stenciling, which I haven't done, but really check that out on YouTube. Just type in Frosted Forest, and you will see some amazing stenciling. And then here is the stamp portion there. So let's take a look at my bonus kit, and I'll link in the description how you get that bonus kit. But you can see the layered trees, and I've only used the dies. I haven't used the stamps at all. So I've layered the trees here. Here is that die, and instead of cutting it all the way apart, I left it attached to my base so that it would pop out from the base and make this 3D effect, and then you could layer the trees behind them. Love, love, love that. I see there's a little coffee spill on there, which really annoys me. I usually have a lid on everything that I do in my scrap room, so I'm not sure how that happened. I see a splot right there too. But I used the Close to My Heart window die. We had a couple window dies in Close to My Heart, and I'm assuming that Stampin' Up! Probably does too. So I used this die in the background to create that window effect. And then I've been using the Nested Essentials from Stampin' Up! I've been using them on everything. They're such a great investment set because every single one of these fits inside each other, but they're all stitched. So they make great elements for cards and pages. So you can see how I use those on on my bonus kit here. So I use the little window in the background, and I love them. And so the pattern paper that I used on this kit is actually our Lake Life. And so we have Lake Life bulk paper that is still available on the shop site, and it's this really, really cute plaid. And then the back side is an ore paper on the back, I believe. So that is Nested Essentials, which is one of the online exclusive product drops. So now we're going to move on to the iconic series. So let's pull this out here. Okay, so we have Iconic Celebrations is another one of our online exclusive product drops that's available still today. And so you can get the entire collection, of course, and you can get each item separately as well. Some beautiful pecan pie clear and pecan pie ribbon gems. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little ribbon embedded in each gem, and they're so shimmery and beautiful. I love those. So you can get those separately or together. Some frayed ribbon, some frayed white ribbon. You can get that in the collection or separately. Iconic Celebrations 6x6 paper. Now this paper pack has, it's 6x6 double-sided, and it has all the seasons and celebrations in it. So I've actually used my set. So there's some pieces out of it and some little pieces missing, but I'll thumb through here, and it's Christmas, it's Valentine's, it's birthday, it's 4th of July, it's New Year's. It's so many celebrations, and you get that whole pack in the collection, or you can purchase that paper pack separately. You also get a die set that you can get separately, or you can get the stamp and the die together, and it's called Iconic Imagery. So you can get that in the bundle, or you can buy the stamp by itself, or you can buy the die by itself, or you can buy the stamp and the die together. So I'm going to show you a project that I created with that, and I do have a full process video on that project, but let's take a look. Look at how tiny these are. And I was very skeptical. I was like, what on earth am I going to do with this for scrapbooking? There's nothing that I can do with this for scrapbooking. They're teeny tiny. And even the stamps themselves are teeny tiny. And they have all to do with seasons and celebrations. So I will show you what I did. Again, I did a full process video with this, and so I made a scribble circle on the Cricut. You can make your own scribble circle by putting a paper plate on the middle of your paper and just drawing scribble lines around the middle. The only purpose of a scribble circle is to give you a base to build on and to kind of help put your words around. So you are my most favorite season of all. I made all of the icons from here in greens, browns, and blues so that they all coordinated. And I stamped some of them. I used standalone dies for some of them. And I just did a variety. And then I added all of the pecan pie and cleared gems to those. And I documented a couple of my grandkids and how grateful I am, and that they are my most favorite season of all. I really, really love how that turned out. I love a wreath style layout from time to time with a focal photo. Okay, let's move on to the next online exclusive. The next online exclusive product drop was Greatest Adventure, still available, a vintage steam engine, and the sentiments that focus on new adventures and accomplishments. Like, good luck on your new adventure, congratulations, miss you, wish our paths crossed more often. And it's beautiful, and it is a cling stamp only. So there is no dies or anything that comes with this. And so I did create with that. I did incorporate the In the Grove cling stamp set, which I've been incorporating into everything. I absolutely love this. If you are a nature lover, or if you camp, if you hike, if you fish, if you do anything outdoors, if you live in the mountains, or if you've just visited the mountains or anywhere that has trees, this is an amazing set. And it has dies here. So they are, of course, sold separately, and you can create a little mountain scene and a little tree scene, and then it has the option to add the cling stamps to it. So I'll show you how I used those with the Greatest Adventure Online Exclusive stamp set. So let's first look at the layout, and I do have a full process video for this. I created the train tracks on the Cricut, and in my process video, I did link that Design Space file in there for you if you wanted to cut that yourself. And I used the alpha dies, the mini alpha dies from Stampin' Up for the title that says Happiness Ahead. And I used the Close to My Heart Season Mix-In paper pack that is still available. Season Mix-Ins are a bridge product that dropped, and these were designed by Close to My Heart, but purchased and sold by Stampin' Up. And they were designed to go with other collections, to have multi-functions and multi-uses, to go with other collections, or to be standalones. So they are double-sided, so you can see 6 sheets here. I think I have used some out of this. And here are the back sides. So I'm going to show you some other projects besides the Greatest Adventure projects that I actually created with these as well. But you can see the Season Mix-Ins wood grain here. You can see the In the Grove mountains and trees in here. You can see the Greatest Adventure train in here. There are those Nested Essentials, again, that investment set that I've been using, and all of the rest of the patterns in here are the Season Mix-Ins that are, like I said, still available. And then again, I had Ashley do her little magic. She's practicing her cards, and I love what she did. She took a play on what I did here and turned it into a card. So she just mirrored my layering of the bits and pieces from the In the Grove stamp set. She added the stamped train on very vanilla and inked the edges with acorn to create a really, really gorgeous layered card. And then I love that she went the opposite, and we have a very flush card, but to me it looks so vintage. So she used some of those leftover patterns in the Season Mix-Ins and did just a flat focal stamped piece there, and I think that is so cute and simple and fast, and I love what she did there. Let's take a look at some other cards that she created using those same Season Mix-Ins. She was playing around with the pattern book, and she pulled in Adventurous Sky with the Season Mix-Ins, and she did some background stamping, and then she just stamped the sentiment and used some leftover bits and pieces of the Season Mix-Ins on that one. Again, another very basic but very usable card. She decided to pull in the orange tones out of the Season Mix-Ins and make small little squares and create diamonds, and again create a very, very simple card with that. Okay, moving right along. Because the refill is now available, I do want to take a quick minute to go over the Paper Pumpkin projects that I created. I do have a Paper Pumpkin Plus group for my subscribers where I provide an alternative scrapbooking project each month for their Paper Pumpkin kit, but June is now available as a refill for Paper Pumpkin subscribers, and I'm waiting for my July, patiently waiting for my July to arrive. So before we move on to the other brand new artwork from the online exclusives, let's take a look. So this is what the original Paper Pumpkin for June was creating. 3 Miss You cards, 3 Congrats cards, and 3 Hello cards. And then, of course, it includes all the pieces needed, the adhesive and everything right in the kit, and all of the envelopes, the card bases, and all the pieces that you need to create those 9 cards. So I took all of the ingredients used in the Paper Pumpkin kit to create those 9 cards, and I added cardstock only to that, and I created an alternative project for my paper crafters of 8 pages. So here is the first page. It is a fun tag page. So you can see all of those same elements that were used on the cards, the stamp that was included in the kit, and all of the twine and everything that was included in the kit simply added to cardstock to create a layout instead of a card. Here's layout number 2. So you can see some of those little pre-cut pieces that were included in the kit. Here are some pre-cut titles. These pieces here came right in the kit. We cut apart some of the flourishes and made a second layout with that. Then we created a third layout here. Really simple but pretty layout where I created a couple little focal elements, flipped some of the elements that were in the paper pumpkin kit around to the opposite side, snipped a few of those pieces apart to create a really pretty and fun, simple layout. The final layout, not much left when we finally got to the final, just a few card bases. And so I used the card bases and a few of the little leftover peaches and elements to create the 8th page or the 4 2-page layouts for Paper Pumpkin. So if you are interested in having an alternative scrapbooking project for Paper Pumpkin each month, you can subscribe to Paper Pumpkin through my website and you'll be added to my Paper Pumpkin Plus group to get your alternative workshop guide for an alternative scrapbook Paper Pumpkin workshop. All right, let's keep moving on to the exclusives. There's more fun to have. We have Changing Leaves still, Potions and Spells, Sophisticated Sled, and Green and Gold. And I have some new projects to share. So this one I did do a process video on the layout. This is Changing Leaves. And if you haven't heard of Changing Leaves in the last 2 weeks, since the online exclusive dropped, then you must be hiding in a cave somewhere. This is something that everyone is in love with. And so, of course, you can get a hybrid bundle where the embossing folder and the die insert inside each other to be able to emboss and stamp at the same time, as well as cut. It has some additional dies as well as the stamps, the very detailed leaves, but the hybrid portion is like this. So you have your hybrid piece that fits inside your embossing folder. So I'm going to pull the embossing folder out and I'm going to pull out the hybrid piece. And you open up the embossing folder and there's many things that you can do. You can ink the inside of the embossing folder so that when you put your paper inside and the die inside, you ink, you emboss, and you cut at the same time. So what you do is you line up your die inside the embossing folder and it almost sinks down in. Put your paper in there, close that, and run that through your die cutter, and you get amazing dimension cutting, and you can ink and stamp at the same time. You can also do separate inking and stamping as well with the stamp set, and there are some small sentiments on there, as well as a lot of details on those leaves. And so it is a pretty amazing set that allows you to do multiple things at once with one bundled set. So let's take a look at some of those projects. Again, I did do a full process video for this, and I did add the Say Something ephemera to this. Otherwise, it is all from the Changing Leaves. So you can see where I just did direct embossing on the squares in the back, and the squares are 6 by 6. So you can see all of that dimension that just embossing does. I actually did some embossing and cutting of many of the layers of leaves. I did stamping, embossing, and cutting of some of those layers of leaves, and I did just cutting of some of those layers of leaves. I did background stamping here with second generation stamp on, stamp off, and then just created all kinds of clusters and 7 photo opportunities on that layout. Isn't it just gorgeous? I just love this set. Now, this was actually the example. So I didn't reinvent the wheel here. I just followed the example shown in the brochure where they embossed, and then I actually inked the embossing folder and then did my stamping that way on those leaves and put together these two very simple cards. These are the pieces that come in the die set and the stamp set, so you can add sentiments on the top and their little stitched elements as well. Just beautiful. Okay, moving right along. We're going to move right into potions and spells. So I do also have a process video for this. This is another online exclusive that is Halloween related, card making or scrapbooking. So again, you can do the dies, you can do the stamp, or you can bundle the die and the stamp together. So you have all of the pieces needed to create an adorable cauldron, a broom, a cat, a raven, some bottles with some potions, some spell books, and then you have the coordinating stamps to go with that. So you can see the detail on those. And then you have the extra dies and stamps to create all of the bubbles. So you can create all of the cute bubbles. So here is the collateral or the images that they gave us to be able to see what we were getting. And they even have goop coming out of the bottle and spilling over the cauldron. And so you can see here where you have your dies and you have your stamp. You can get those together, or you can get those separate, and here's what those dies look like. And I really, really love the broom. And so I use the Brights collection, the 6x6 Brights. And again, I'll link this process video in the description. I don't have a process video for the cards. Oh, looks like I have my cardstock still under there. So I created, again, a large Cricut scribble circle, not a drawing scribble circle, because I wanted to do a ton of journaling and tell the story. We did tearing of the Brights, a little background blending with a blending brush, background stamping with the stamp, put together some of those standalone dies, also put together some of those that are stamped on them as well. I used the mini alpha dies from Stampin' Up to cut out some of the Brights pattern paper to create Hocus Pocus. I actually used my Stampin' Write markers to just do a teeny tiny bit of coloring there because there wasn't much. I didn't need to use my Stampin' Blends. I just used my Stampin' Write. And then you can see the cute little card that I created primarily with dies only. I did do the stamping on the books and a little bit of markering with those Stampin' Blends again. And then I did do the stamping and the markering on the raven. Other than that, it's all the dies and just cute. Look at the dimension in that. Isn't that cool? I absolutely love Halloween, so I loved this online only exclusive. Now let's go from Halloween and jump right into winter. Sophisticated Sled. So I do have this project. So if you follow me closely, I did do a process video on this, a full process video with measurements, but I do have another project to show you with this that I have not shown yet. So Sophisticated Sled, I can't say enough, adorable. So when I first saw it, I was like, yeah, it's okay. And when I decided to go for it and get it, I actually got it because I had some free product and that I earned rewards. And so I got it with my rewards and I thought, I might as well since I have rewards. Oh my gosh, was I just eating crow because I love it. So it has all of the elements needed to create an adorable vintage sled. It creates ice skates and laces that insert right inside the ice skates and a wreath as well as branches. So cute. So again, as always, it has dies and it has stamps. You can get them together or you can get them separately. And then it has some little sentiments that can go along with it. So you can actually stamp the sled and stamp the wreath and stamp the skates, or you can use the dies and you can create those with the dies. So the sled you could actually create without stamping at all. And same with the ice skates. You could create those without stamping at all. I did stamp the little background strings, but you could create those with the dies by themselves, or you could actually get the stamp to add the detail. So here we go. So here's their sample artwork that they gave us with the collateral. And here are what those dies look like up close and personal. So you have the top part of the sled and the base of the sled. You have the laces to the skates, the blades to the skates, the body to the skates, and the base of the skates. And then you have the wreath and a lot of the little flourishes, and then the 3 sled parts, the 4 sled parts. All right, so here is the layout that I created. And I actually created this with unlikely paper. So I created this with the country, oh my goodness, country hillside, countryside, country. So we have country woods, we have country cottage, and we have countryside inn. Oh my gosh, country woods, country cottage, and countryside inn. This is countryside inn. And though it is not specifically winter, I thought the winter blues were perfect. So I won't spend a lot of time, but I just want you to see the detail in those skates and how the laces tuck right inside the skates. They actually create a little pocket, and then those laces tuck right inside. So you can do parts of it with stamping and parts of it with die cutting. This is Hetty Elaine and Avery Jean building a snowman. So I actually put some embellishing thread around and tied that into the skates. And then our green and gold collection that is going to be coming up next, you'll see we have some really wonderful gems that come with that set. And then I also colored on our Say Something ephemera to get the colors to coordinate. And this is from the Say Something ephemera, and so is this. And I actually colored on it, and then this is a stamped piece. Now, of course, as predictable as it might be, again, I'll link this process video in the description, but as predictable as it might be, I had to use green and gold with, let me just zoom in for you. These are just too beautiful not to get up close. So I had to use our green and gold collection to use the sophisticated sleds. Just gorgeous. So on this one, you can see that I use silver foil accents on all of it. So see how shimmery the silver foil is? So I just switched to gold foil accents on this one to die for. So cute. So I did white glitter paper for the ice skates. I used some gold glitter paper here. This is from our green and gold collection, and this is from our green and gold collection, Stampin' Up collection. And then this is from the, this little piece right here is from the green and gold collection. And so this piece and this piece. And so the paper and these 2 pieces are from the green and gold collection, as are the berries. The rest is from Sophisticated Sled. So you can see how glimmery that is and how gorgeous that is. And it is a relatively simple card. You've got just your base pieces over the gold, and then I added gold embellishing thread around the sled. Aren't those just beautiful? I just am swooning over those. I love every single thing about Sophisticated Sled, and you are going to be so excited because the green and gold collection is next, and that is my last online exclusive to share. Last but not least, our last online exclusive to share my projects. And so this is called Season of Green and Gold. And it's absolutely stunning. I know I use the word absolutely a lot this evening, but it is absolutely stunning, and I can't wait to show you my projects. So my paper crafters typically vote when we have a new product drop, and we vote on, as a group, majority rules of what we will focus on first and what we will do. And I have quarterly bashes. A bash is an online event, an exclusive online event, where we have a month-long prep with pre-prep videos, and we create an extra special large project. And typically it's scrapbooking pages, obviously. Sometimes there are other things besides scrapbooking pages, but it's an extra large, extra special, extra detailed set of projects. And then what we do is I create all of the videos and every single step to create those pages from start to finish in pre-prep videos. My paper crafters are admitted into the group a month ahead of time, and they can work on those pre-prep videos whenever they want. They can work on them at midnight. They can work on them at 2 in the afternoon. They can do them all at the last minute. They can take the entire month and do them. And then at the end of the month, we have a 2 or a 3-day online event with games, prizes, and the culminating assembly of all of the parts and pieces. So everyone walks away from the weekend with completed pages. And then, of course, we have challenges, we have drawings, we have prizes, and we just have so much fun being together. It's a virtual event that's available on replay, so you can stay tuned for all the details of that event and how you earn entry into the bash, and it will be called the Season of Green and Gold Bash. But my point of the story is that I was planning on doing Secret Garden as my quarterly bash, and the paper crafters in my group saw Seasons of Green and Gold. Now, don't get me wrong, they all want to do Secret Garden as well. Secret Garden is absolutely stunning, but they asked if we could do the bash this quarter with Seasons of Green and Gold. So I will be creating an extra large set of projects with this collection. It is a large collection, so let's dive right in. So of course, you have the option to get 2 die and stamp sets separately or in the bundle. It comes with ribbon, an ivory ribbon. It comes with those gorgeous gems that I talked about, cherry cobbler and pearl adhesive back gems. Those are the ones that I used on the sophisticated sled cards that I really, really love. And you can get those separately or together. You can get the dies and the stamps separately or together. You can get the ribbon separately or together. And here are those stamps. And we're going to talk about the stamps and the dies in a minute, but let's go through the paper collection. So you have the option to get it all in one bundle, to get the separate golden greenery stamps and dies, to get the separate greetings of the season stamp and dies. And so this is the greeting of the season dies. And then you can get separate graceful greenery vellum or together. You can get separate cherry cobbler and pearl adhesive back berries separate or together. Same with the very vanilla satin ribbon separate or together. So let's take a look at your paper options, okay? So you can have the vellum as part of that set, and all of these are vellum sheets, 2 of each style. But what is special about these is there are dies in the die set that will cut out these vellum pieces. So it will cut out these branches. They will die cut out the branches. They will also die cut out the pine. And you can see some of the pine has snow and some of it is plain pine. And it's absolutely gorgeous when you just use those as embellishments. And I'm going to show you some examples of those. You also have just a frosted vellum here that's gorgeous. And I actually had an idea for the first layout of my bash, and you're going to get to see a sneak peek of it here. But let me show you those really quick. So here is the die that goes with the pine. So you would just line those up. Now I might have it on the wrong side here. Yes, I do. So you would line those up and die cut those pieces out. And I actually use even partial pieces because a lot of those pieces are tucked under. So you also have gold foil and regular pattern paper that this same die cuts out. It can also cut out cardstock because there's a coordinating 2-part layered stamp that can go with it as well. So that is why I like to get the scoop so that I know what I'm talking about when my paper crafters ask. So you can do that. You have bells, the single bell that also cuts out, and you have leaf flourishes that also cut out of the pattern papers and the vellum. So this one, I believe, if I'm on the right side here, I think it would go, let's see, right, like that. So you can see how that fits in there, and it cuts all of those pieces out. It also cuts some pattern paper pieces, some gold foil pattern paper pieces, cardstock with 2 layered die stamps that go on top of that as well. And then you have some pattern paper in here. Let's move the vellum aside. Here's the pattern paper. So it's 2-sided. So you have just some general leaf flourishes, and on the back side it's gold embedded. So I don't know if you can see the sparkly of that, but we have sparkly starbursts on one side and leaf flourishes on the other side, sparkly gold again, and you can, I believe this is one of the ones that you can cut out, that you have a die to cut out, and then you have a generic green on the back side that would not have to be Christmas. It could simply be outdoor or anything like that. Now the bells are so pretty. These also can cut out, and also the branches cut out with that die. These leaves cut out with the die. These leaves cut out with the die, and the bells do, not the double bells, but the small and the large single bell. So you can cut those out from here. So here is that small one. And then you can also cut out the large one. And then again, the branches and the other flourishes within that. Isn't that just so cool? So you can have all kinds of embellishments. And then you have a great plaid here. And then more leaf flourishes in the mossy meadow, some more gold embedded diamonds in there. Aren't those patterns absolutely gorgeous? So now you can see some of the patterns that I was able to get the sophisticated sled out of. Those are so gorgeous for that. Again, each one of these cuts out, so you can cut those out again with your dies. I think they go this way. There we go. And you can make all kinds. So you have so many options for texture because you have gold foil cutouts, you have vellum cutouts, you have stamped and stamp and die pieces. You have so much. So this is the gold dot. And then again, look at that gold embedded in there. So I went through and I took some of the Stampin' Up! Gold foil paper, and these are so intricate and they cut so nicely, but you can see how pretty those are. I cut the larger dies out of those for my bash to prepare my big workshop for my bash. It's difficult to even tell the difference between some of the punch out or the die cut pieces and the stamped pieces. That's how amazing they look. So here are some of those background stitched pieces that are part of the die set, the Greetings of the Season die set. We have a lot of those. And then you can see the other colors. You can see the ones that are dies and the ones that are out of the pattern paper. You can't tell apart. So these are actually stamped with a layered stamp. So they're cut out with the die, and then I stamped once with the first stamp and once with the second stamp, and they look like the pattern paper. They look perfect. So if you wanted to conserve your pattern paper, you could use your stamp in your die and be able to save that pattern paper without cutting those pieces out of the back. So many pieces here. Great leaf flourishes out of that gold foil, the bells out of that gold foil, vellum pieces. My goodness, I just went to town and created so much because I'm going to create a very dynamic project. So again, you've already seen the green and gold that I used for the sophisticated sled. Now let's take a look at the cards first, and then I'll show you the first bash layout. So on this one, it was simply using the background paper, and then all of these pieces are vellum except for a couple pattern paper pieces. And then I fussy cut the double bells, and then I cut with the die the single bells. I added a little tiny bit of embellishing thread and then some gold gems from my stash. But just look at the sparkle on that. A super easy card because all of those pieces were die cut out of existing patterns. And then here is the next one. And I should say that these were the sample cards that came in our collateral, in our brochure. And so I just didn't reinvent anything. I just made their gorgeous cards. They did emboss with embossing powder and I did not. So you can see this one. We have the background paper. This is that beautiful vellum here. Gorgeous. Vellum, 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 vellum. All of those are vellum pieces. And then those are those pieces from the greetings of the season with those stamps. And then there's some of those cherry cobbler gems and berries. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, ba-bum-bum, our very, very last piece of artwork, and I will get off here. My goodness, this took a while, but I forgot to show you this. This is gold mercury vellum, and it is an add-on that you can totally get separately. And it's 3 sheets, I believe, or is it 6 sheets? I think it's 6. It's 6, and they start from a light amount of mercury, and then a medium amount, and then a darker amount or a heavier amount. So when you pull them apart, this one is kind of smooth. No, this one. This one is pretty smooth. It's not bumpy. The next one is medium. Okay, so it's getting a little more porous and a little more bumpy. And then I think this one's medium, and then this one's the highest. So you can see there's different levels of mercury in each of those. And then they have that vellum element as well. Super fun. I don't think I've seen anything done with those yet, and I haven't experimented with it yet myself. Okay, I had a vision for my first bash layout for Seasons of Green and Gold. And I hope that you love it, and I'll explain the vision to you. Let me get a little bit closer here so you can get centered up there. So my idea was to create a Christmas tree out of the leaf flourishes that I cut out of the backgrounds. So I actually cut those out of Mossy Meadow. And then I created a ring circle out of Mossy Meadow. And then I cut a circle out of the vellum as well as out of the gold diamond. So the gold diamond circle, I created a tree by just laying 1 leaf, 2 leaves, and 3 leaves in different directions to create that Christmas tree in the back. Then I layered over the top of the diamond the speckled vellum, and then put the ring over the top to tie it all together. I wish you could see that and really see the gorgeous detail of how that tree is just peeking through that vellum. And then I actually added the cherry cobbler and the clear gems to the top to really create a focal element there. So I used the cherry cobbler cardstock with the gold foil here on a 4x6 vertical, and then the clusters are all the things. It is just the dies out of cardstock, the dies that are stamped with the 2-part stamps and layered, single part stamped die, and dies that are cut right out of the gold foil paper, and the dies that are cut out of the pattern paper. Created the Christmas title on the Cricut, added a little bit of gold glitter paper, and all the rest are the patterns directly from the Gold and Green, Seasons of Gold and Green. Over here, these tags come directly out of the greetings of the season that are part of the green and gold set. And then here is that gold foil paper. Here is one that is stamped with the 2 layered stamps and the same background on the right page as is on the focal page. And then using cherry cobbler photo mats and popping those up. Isn't that beautiful? I hope you love that. I absolutely am in love with that vellum look and how it creates such a gorgeous, unique page. And that is layout 1 of my Seasons of Green and Gold bash. So that will be coming up. You can be looking forward to how you can get entered into the bash and be part of our weekend fund. The weekend fund will be in September. September. All of the participants will be entered into the private group in August, and they will have a month to work through all the projects and to get ready for the culminating party in September. So you can grab up your green and gold bundle here in July. You can get into the group and work on your projects in August, and we can have our party in September. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed tonight, please hit like, subscribe, shoot me a comment, and let me know what your favorite bridge product is and what your favorite Stampin' Up! Online exclusive product is. I hope you love my projects. Have a great day, everyone. Happy scrapping, and bye-bye.